As we head into the new year, we all start to think about self-improvement. And one of the best ways to enhance your style is by improving your eyewear. So in today's video, as a very special treat and as a thank you for all of your support, I'm going to be showcasing my own personal eyewear wardrobe. So hi, I'm Robert, Style and Vision Consultant here at the Spectacle Factory, and it's my job to pair you with your perfect pair of glasses. And today I'm going to be talking about all of my glasses. We're going to be looking at them from least worn to most worn. And I'm going to be explaining the situations when I might wear each pair in, the combination of frames and lenses that I selected, and hopefully giving you some inspiration for upgrading your own eyewear wardrobe. So without further ado, let's get into it. And we'll start, as I mentioned, with the pairs that I wear the least. And as an example, here's the Churchill by Walter & Herbert. Now, this is a really classic acetate tortoiseshell style. And when I say classic, it's actually quite an original tortoiseshell. This kind of yellowish striped tortoiseshell is different and it is unique, and it's one of the unique acetates that Walter & Herbert work with. So I really do appreciate these, and the shape is really easy to wear. I find myself wearing them casually, wearing them at work as well. They're quite versatile. But I think what lets this pair down is, number one, the shape is quite basic. That is typical of Walter & Herbert. They're a British brand, in a way old-fashioned, but I don't mean that as a pejorative. I think mainly the lack of tint also means that I find myself reaching for these not very often. These actually do have a special coating, a completely colorless anti-reflective. That means that the lenses are literally invisible, and that makes this pair unique to all of the other pairs that I have. One little touch that I do love, I was at the launch party for Walter & Herbert, this is like 10 years ago now, and back then they were offering custom engravings on the frame. So this actually has my name engraved on the temple, which is a beautiful touch. But I just wish that was a service that Walter & Herbert still offered. They really, really need to bring that back. But Walter & Herbert, if you're looking for a really good mid-range brand, great quality, great price, I actually think these are the best you can buy in that kind of sphere, so I would definitely recommend Walter & Herbert frames. Next up, and very much along the same lines, is my Lacoste x Novak Djokovic limited edition collaboration. And again, these are quite special to me in a way. Novak Djokovic is someone I really look up to, the fact that these are limited edition, and the fact that these are so completely different than any other Lacoste frame that's ever been made. You would really not think these were Lacoste by looking at them. They look really premium. They look like a Barton Prera or an Arlem. And to be honest, they feel pretty close to those brands as well. On very close inspection, you can see that the details are maybe not quite done to the same level. You wouldn't expect that because these are less than half the price of those brands. Now these have Photofusion Flash brown and ruby lenses, so I do really like the lens treatment that's on these. They have that slight pinkish glow inside, which really ties in well with the tortoiseshell lens rim. So I like them. But what stops me wearing this pair is that they're not made to my current prescription. Now, I have a very low prescription. I can still see more or less with these, but I definitely can't see with the same clarity as some of my other pairs. So again, that means that I reach for these less. Also, Lacoste as a brand doesn't resonate with me personally, even if Novak Djokovic does. Next up, and in their time, this was one of my favorite pairs. These are the Enquire collection from Jean-Francois Ray. Enquire stands for leather. These are actually made with a veneer of leather. Not like Luca d'Estel, which are full leather all the way through. These are predominantly acetate, but with leather embellishments. But at the time when I got these, I thought that was awesome, and I also thought the drive-safe lenses were awesome. They'd just been released as well. So I was so excited about this pair of glasses, and I still think they look cool. I think for me and my personal taste, they're a little bit thick and round. I like round frames, I like thicker frames sometimes. The combination of these two, it is distinct from anything else that I have, so I still use them on occasion, but it's just not my personal look. But I still think these are cool. They're great for night driving thanks to the drive-safe lenses, even with the out-of-date prescription. But again, I think if I was going to remake these, I would add a lens tint. Speaking of which, and for the exact same reason, is my JF Double J frame. So we have here a round frame and a square frame fused together. That just exemplifies Jean-Francois Ray's amazing, incredible creativity and why I love his work so much. And again, when I got this pair, I was so excited. This was my first ever foray into digital lenses. So these have my prescription through most of the lens, and then a boost of focus for when I'm checking my phone or reading on a tablet or working on my laptop. Since getting these glasses, almost all of my glasses have been made with digital lens technology because for me it was a game changer. It really does reduce strain on my eyes. I find that my close vision is just absolutely crystal clear and enhanced, not just like natural because I am short-sighted so I can see well up close without glasses. These are supernatural. They're better than natural vision at close distance. So I tend to wear these sometimes at home working on my computer, and I wear them occasionally when I want a slightly different look to everything else. I still think these are fun, very playful, reasonably comfortable to wear, not my most comfortable frames, but a bit of a quirky option to have within my collection. Actually the newest pair, I think, or second newest pair on this list, but still in the realms of rarely worn, is my new RLM New York. I was very much experimenting when I created the tint for these. I loved the idea in theory. Well, I won't say that. I liked the fact that it was a tint I didn't have. You know, as you can see within my collection, I have a bit of everything. What I will say about the rose is that the contrast it gives you is fantastic. And I really actually like my vision through these lenses. They're again, digital technology as well. So we have that boost of focus for close range. Although in this case, these are the new Smart Life individual 3 digital lenses, so they're literally the best iteration of that technology. My vision, I could not fault. It's exceptional. It's incredible, actually. I just feel like it might be a little bit too pink for my personal taste, and I'm not against wearing brave and bright lens colors, believe me. But I'm just not sure it quite matches my complexion perfectly. So I'm currently in the process of redesigning a tint for these, and I'm thinking about options, and I would actually love to know your thoughts. So let me know in the comments what tint you think I should get in this pair. This frame I still love, the beautiful details on it, those end tips. I'm just not sure if the style is for me at the moment. Hopefully we're going to change that. Similarly with my Modo VS1, now I made a whole video about creating these, and I'm still really glad that I did. They were actually made by combining both of these 2 frames together, and the reason I say that is neither of these is a stock colorway from Modo. This collection was actually imagined by industrial designer Valerio Semella. And if you haven't heard of him, check out his work. He's actually really impressive. But I think his best work was these frames. What he did was he took Modo's very thin titanium construction and added, and it sounds simple now, but he added a interliner which acts as a contrast between the frame and the lens. Usually this frame is all black and this frame is gray with yellow lens rim. And I took both of those options and mixed and matched them, so we now have the black with the yellow lens rim, which I think really makes it pop, and we have the grey with the black lens rim, which is a bit more understated. And I'm really happy with how they came out. I just find that compared to my other styles, certainly, you know, like my Reykjavik eyes, for example, these are just not quite as good. I still really like them, and I do wear them occasionally, especially at work. This is a really good pair for at work with a black suit, because I love the yellow accent colour. I think it's just a really nice, almost Easter egg. You don't see it square on, but you see it from the side. And I do wear these for holidaying, so if I'm in really bright sunlight, these are actually very good. Let's talk a little bit about the lens tints that are in them on that subject. So these have a black 25% gradient tint. That is really good for video editing, which I do a lot, as you can imagine. Video editing, you need to see colours perfectly. A black tint gives perfect colour recognition while still having the calming effect of a lens tint. And these are a grey adaptive sun lens. So that means that these vary between the moderate tint you see here and a super dark tint based on the conditions. So if it's sunny enough, these will be the darkest sunglasses in the world. The only limitation with them is the fact that it's a grey tint, which is a very cold colour to look through. Again, if you're on the beach, if you live in a hot climate, wonderful, grey is great. But here in the UK, where it's pretty cold most of the year, you don't want to feel colder than it actually is. And that's the effect that these lenses have. So that's the reason why I don't wear this pair so much, but I do quite like them. They're extremely comfortable to wear. That goes for both pairs. I mean, they are the same frames after all. And I'm still proud of the project that I worked on. I thought it was quite a cool concept. We have 1 or 2 of these left remaining. It's something that's been created just by us, so we're the only place you can order this style from. If you like it, get in touch. And now my last pair that I would say I rarely use, and this might come as a surprise because they're probably one of my best pairs, is my Jean-Francois Ray or JF Carbon Wood. Now this was a model that was produced in very small quantities and sold out pretty quickly, especially once I started showcasing it on YouTube because everybody wanted it. And that hype has slightly died down now, which I'm really, really grateful for because telling everyone that I couldn't get the frame they wanted was quite upsetting for a period of time. Every detail on this frame I absolutely love. The geometric stroke pilot shape is ultra cool. The construction is ultra cool with carbon fiber around the lens rim. The bridge shape, which is just out of this world. And of course, the electric blue metalwork. Every detail on this frame I absolutely love. And my only criticism of them is the fact that they are not very comfortable. But to be honest, that doesn't stop me from wearing them. I'm happy to wear them and I can suffer through the pain, throw on my Reykjavik eyes at the end of the day. That bit doesn't bother me. I just want to preserve them because they are literally one of my favorites. And because everyone else wants them, that makes them even more precious to me. I feel like I have a big responsibility to look after them. They do have a drive-safe lens with blue photoffusion, so they're very versatile in terms of great for night driving, can be worn in the sun. As you can imagine, the blue tint when it's added to the frame looks unbelievable. I think we managed to find one extra pair in the red colorway. I actually think the red is equally as good as the blue, so if you're interested in that, let me know. Now we're going to get on to the main part of my collection in a second, the frames that I mostly wear day to day. But before we do, I have a few collectible frames that I thought you might be interested to see. The first is the Ludens mask, which you might have seen my video on. The Ludens mask was actually designed for a video game, directed by Hideo Kojima, who I think is a true artist, in the same vein as David Lynch. He's a director on that level, producing video games. If you haven't played his games, or if you're not aware of them, please do check them out. But he's also a fan of my favorite eyewear brand, JFRay, and therefore he collaborates with JFRay when he designs glasses for the characters in his video games. This pair is from the video game Death Stranding, which is set in a post-apocalyptic world where humanity is very divided and unconnected. And the main character has a phobia, literally an allergy to being touched and human contact. And just like for me, eyewear is a shield against the world, and I definitely feel that in the game. His eyewear, this mask as it's called, the Ludens mask, is his shield, his protection from the world. It's a visual sign that he's not approachable. As you can imagine, you'd be quite intimidated by someone wearing this. Now, he's not a bad person, but the game is all about building connections with other people, and therefore it takes a protagonist who has a natural adversity to that to take us on that journey of how he discovers humanity, escapes from that self-imposed prison. That's very deep, and the Ludens mask was actually a big part of that whole concept. That's why when they released the Ludens mask as a limited edition, I think there were 888 pairs of these, which were made using 3D printing technology, I had to get my hands on one. This is my own personal pair, which I will never give away, I will never sell, that will always be mine to treasure. And we have one somewhere for the store as well. So that's my Ludens mask, and whilst I never wear it because it is a collector's item, it's a huge part of my collection. It's one of my most treasured pieces. Similarly, from a different game by Kojima, is my Ocelot sunglasses from the video game Metal Gear Solid. And there are a few really neat details about these frames. First of all, the military style side shield, which actually has a nylon weave to it. And best of all, something I've never seen before or since, is the camo print lens tint. So they actually managed to make a camouflage effect on the lenses, and isn't that just awesome? I mean, it's completely impractical and useless, but it looks great. And for glasses that are, again, a collector's item that you're not actually going to wear, although I'm sure some people do, it's appropriate. And I think it really finishes them off. This is worn by a military commander within the game. So a camo print really reflects his identity too, which is one of my core principles when it comes to glasses, that they should reflect your personality. So yeah, these are my Ocelot sunglasses. I was recently offered around $3,000 to sell these to a collector, and I said no, because whilst I'm not stupid, for me, some things are more important than money, and this is something that is very personal to me. It's a reminder of one of my favorite artists, and that is a connection that I have with him, even though he doesn't have a clue that I exist. Finally, my latest collector's item to add to my collection is the new, 50 Years of Hip Hop by Cazal. The Cazal 607 is a pair that I talk about a lot on this channel, and you guys are probably fed up of me doing so because it seems like every week there's a new version of that frame, and you'll either love it or hate it. Because Cazal are the brand that really popularized designer glasses and really made glasses cool with actual celebrities and truly cool people in the hip-hop industry, because of that, they will always be intricately tied with the concept of eyewear as fashion, for me. And that's why the 607 is a pair that is really revered, and I think is maybe the most influential glasses style of all time, and I don't say that lightly. So every so often Cazal produce limited runs of certain colorways, but this is the matte green, and matte green happens to be a color that I just love. They brought it out this year, and I had to get my hands on a pair. Very, very glad to have it. It's another pair that I'll probably never sell this. Hopefully, I will actually add some lenses and start to wear it. But I'm certainly very proud and happy to own a piece of eyewear history. And with that out of the way, it's onto my main glasses. So I'm going to start with the Reykjavik Eyes Fuller, which was my first ever pair of the third iteration of Reykjavik Eyes. So I'd had Reykjavik Eyes frames before, But this is the concept where Gunnar Gunnarsson walked away and said, I'm finished. Reykjavik Eyes is perfect. I agree with him. Reykjavik Eyes are the best glasses, functionally, that you can buy. They're not only the most durable because they're made from one-piece laser-cut titanium, and it's beta titanium, the same material they use in aircraft. I always talk about how these are the most comfortable glasses in the world. And yet, whenever I send a pair to a client, they're always surprised at just how light and comfortable they are. So I can't really quite put it into words just how good they are. If you're into eyewear, you must own a pair. It doesn't matter if this is not your look. It's great for just chilling around the house. And that's when I tend to wear these. So these actually have the Smart Life Individual 3 single vision lenses, which I was sent just as a test by Zeiss. And they needed me to wear a pair to review. So they sent me a pair with no tint, just fully clear. That does mean that whilst these are good in specific situations like nighttime use or watching TV in the dark, things like that. Again, without the tint, it does mean that I don't wear them perhaps as much as some of the others. But I do have them as like a go-to frame. If I want a pair with no tint, these are my go-to non-tinted glasses, which very occasionally is what I want. Next up is my Gast Mappy with blue adaptive sun lenses. And you could argue that this is possibly one of my most stylish pairs. These just look incredible. So these have the adaptive sun technology like I talked about in my Modo VS1 Isola, but with a blue tint. And blue does have the same kind of cold cooling effect that the grey does, but it's much more enhancing and much brighter to look through. So it's a much, in my opinion, happier tint. And I love how it looks. I think it's the most stylish adaptive sun color. So these are great for urban environments. If I'm around town when it might be sunny, I will often wear these. I love how the blue tint pairs with the crystal frame. I love the fact that, like all Gast styles, these are very affordable as well. So I didn't feel guilty about buying them and adding to my, let's be honest, way too long list of glasses that I already have. The gold inlay ties in with an amber flash coating on the lenses as well. I just think these came out amazing, and it's no surprise that many of you have been requesting to replicate these. I think they look brilliant. Next on my list is another Reykjavik Eyes style, a little bit newer than my Fuller. This is the Reykjavik Eyes Rijkaard in green with pistachio tint, let's not forget. And that combination of the pistachio tint with the green frame, it all just ties in effortlessly. Again, this is a very stylish pair of glasses in my opinion, like the Mappy. Maybe not quite on that same level, but then the comfort is way ahead of the Gast frame because these are Reykjavik Eyes again. I really like what they did with the Rijkaard. The shape is at first glance rectangular, but it's actually not. It's like slightly geometric. The fact that it has this really close together double bridge. A lot of guys are apprehensive about having a double bridge on a frame, and I get that because it does really make them prominent there. Having it close together makes it still very cool and very stylish, but a little bit more toned down, so it's a bit easier to wear. And that's again why the Rijkaard is actually probably my #1 most replicated pair. I would say this is the pair out of my entire collection that gets requested the most. And maybe therefore I should wear them more often. It's like more than 10 pairs that I wear more than my Rijkaard, and I think that's just because they're a little bit older. I think they pair well with any color that I'm wearing. So even though they're green, they're actually very versatile and neutral enough. So with a black suit, a blue suit, or even a brown suit, I can wear this frame and it looks great. Similarly versatile, but maybe not quite as so, is my Luca de Stale Minotaur pair. So these are made from pure leather. And this is probably the pair that surprised me the most out of everything that I own in terms of how good they are. I talked for a few years about how special Luca de Stale frames were, but it was only when I finally got my own pair, after like 3 years of recommending them to people, that I realized just how good they are, just how comfortable they are, just how easy to live with they are. I thought Reykjavik Eyes were on a different planet in that sense, but actually these are not far off. And unlike most frames that look worse the longer you own them, with Luca de Stale they look better the longer that you own them. See, I'm someone that likes the look of a distressed leather jacket rather than something that looks like it's brand new and being worn for the first time. That's just me. I like vintage things that have got history to them. And if you own a pair of Luca de Stale glasses, every moment you share with them adds to their history. I really like how the flash coating pairs with the frame. Jade is one of the best ones to have in that it really stands out, got that kind of green finish to it. Next up is one of my absolute favorite pairs, which is my Eco Eyewear Slate frame with Sweet Violet tint. Out of all of the tints that I have, this is my favorite. I'm not saying it's the best because no tint is the best for everything, but it is my favorite because when I put these on, the world just seems better. They're super relaxing, super comfortable to look through with very neutral color recognition, which is helpful because your brain doesn't have to work too hard to kind of reset itself. And to be honest, I would wear these as much as possible. These would be one of my most worn pairs, except that the purple might clash with certain outfits. Obviously with what I'm wearing today, perfect match. But some colours, well, a lot of colours, purple does clash with, and that's the only thing that limits me from wearing them more often. There's also the pair that I was wearing at the start of this video, and I'd say I wear these a similar amount to the Eco pair with Sweet Violet. This is my Gast Mint, and again, extremely cool, extremely stylish, extremely affordable. These are in the matte black finish, which is quite rare within the Gast collection, so that appeals to me more because they're a little bit different. I really like the gold rivets on the front, and these have Photofusion X. It's the fastest changing light reactive lens in the world. These will go from clear to dark in around 90 seconds and back to clear again in around about the same time, which is just like, you would never need them to be quicker than that. I would argue that you don't want them to be quicker than that because that might be quite jarring to our visual system. So these are really the pinnacle, in my opinion, of photochromic technology. I guess the only thing you could improve on them would be that they worked in the car. That would be it. For me, that's not an issue because I have plenty of glasses I can wear in the car. But for some people, they would like that functionality. These are clear view lenses because with this pair, I was specifically speccing a low cost option to just see how good we could get an inexpensive pair of glasses. Clearview is Zeiss's entry-level lens design, and I'm happy to say it is fantastic. Yes, I wear Smart Life, which is better. Well, it's more advanced and it's more expensive, but you can't fault Clearview. They're super clear, super sharp. I would recommend them to anyone who wears single focus lenses. So yeah, I tend to wear these quite often, but just because of the fact that they are quite bold, not every day am I in the mood for that, and that's why they're maybe not one of my most worn pairs. But one that is, and another one that I look forward to wearing, and is probably my most worn pair when I go out, is my Reykjavik Eyes Alba with custom shape and custom tint. I spent a long time designing these, and I actually got it wrong once, so I had to design them twice. But I took the shape from a really obscure and interesting Modo frame, and I made a bespoke tint. That combination of the blue and the ruby really plays off each other. I adore this pair of glasses. Again, I would probably wear them more often. The tint is a little bit limiting for me to wear at work. Some people might find it a little bit, no, I don't want to say offensive, but a little bit rude to have such a tinted pair. 40% is probably a bit too much for meeting clients in a customer service role. I feel like 25% is the sweet spot for that. Yeah, I would say outside of work, they're probably my most worn pair. I absolutely love them. And just like all Reykjavik Eyes glasses, super comfortable, super durable. And I think these really go to show the power of a rimless frame with a custom shape and custom tint. You can really make them something one of a kind. Now, a similar tint is in my Anglo-American Fits. Now, this is a pair that I've actually been really surprised at how much I've started wearing them. Again, I wear them mainly outside of work because even though they have the 25% gradient tint, which would be light enough, the jade flash coating is quite prominent. So just like my Luca de Stale pair, I tend not to wear them at the shop, but outside of work, just like the Alba, I wear them a lot. And these are actually one of my go-to frames for wearing around the house. They're surprisingly comfortable, surprisingly affordable, quintessentially British again. These are an English brand. Anglo-American Optical have been making glasses in the UK for 150 years almost. They get not nearly enough credit for what they've done. I think this frame in the OP24 color is actually quite understated, quite vintagey, but very, very cool. And I feel cool when I wear this pair. So they're definitely achieving what I wanted from them, and that's why it's actually one of my most worn pairs, surprisingly. And speaking of most worn, one of my most worn, in fact my second most worn sunglass, let's say, is my Adaptive Sun green polarized pair, which are in a JF Ray on Queer again. So these are from that leather collection that Jean-Francois Ray brought out. And I got these as like a matching pair, glasses and sunglasses, which is a great matching pair. I think, you know, it's on the level with the matching pair of Modo that I showed earlier. But this is one of my favorite ever frames, absolute favorite ever. Not everyone likes them. In fact, a lot of people tell me they don't like them. Doesn't bother me because I'm happy wearing something that makes me feel good. I love the leather embellishment on the brow bar along the top, the fact that that's so bold and thick, you don't see that very often. The lens is great. It's the best pair I have in terms of pure sunglasses. If I just want to have the maximum protection from the sun, the grey Adaptive Sun is pretty good, but these are even better. That silver flash coating is quite prominent and it reflects harsh light away from the eyes. That combined with the polarization, which eliminates glare, means that these are a truly protective pair of sunglasses. And obviously the fact that the tint goes up to 97% as well. There is no more eye protection you could get than from this pair of sunglasses. In really strong sunlight, especially in the summer, and sometimes for driving in winter, this is a pair that I reach for very, very often. Now, speaking of driving, I have two pairs that I wear very often for driving. The slightly less worn pair is my newest. They are my Porsche Design 8937 with custom sunset violet tint. Now, I have to be honest, when I spec'd these, I got them purely as a style accessory to match to my new car, which is in the same color. And if that was the only thing they did, I think I'd still be happy with that. I was so excited about the color of my car because it was a vintage color brought back from the 80s by Porsche. I like 80s music. That really resonated with me. And obviously eyewear is my main passion in life, so I wanted eyewear that reflected my new car. But then I was shocked, I was stunned, and I was amazed by just how good they are as sunglasses. I took these on a tour of Belgium and France, and I really put them to the test because the sun there is very different to the sun we get here in the UK. It's a lot hotter, it's a lot more intense. And I wasn't sure that these would be protective enough for that environment, but they absolutely were. And these are still a really great pair for driving in strong sunlight, or medium to strong sunlight. So I wouldn't wear these in the rain so much, but any time that the sun is either peeking through the clouds or fully out, I find that these are wonderful. And actually, on a lot of occasions, I've been driving in sunlight conditions, and the sunlight's faded and it's come to dusk, and I haven't noticed because the low light vision is good with them, just not quite as good as my Magma Orange, which we're going to get onto. But I think the tint and the frame paired really well together. I think these are definitely a statement pair. I definitely get looks when I wear them. I just think they are a perfect accessory to my car, and I absolutely love them. Now, my absolute most worn sunglasses are my Adaptive Sun brown gradient lenses in my one-of-a-kind Reykjavik Eyes frame. Now, I've told you how special Reykjavik Eyes frames are. Gunnar Gunnarsson, who's the inventor of Reykjavik Eyes, is probably my biggest inspiration when it comes to eyewear, because we have a lot of similarities. He too worked for his parents' opticians. He too recognized issues and problems within the industry. Now, he approached it from a design perspective. He looked at the faults with glasses. I look at the faults with the customer experience, the whole process of buying glasses. But we both wanted to change our industry. And Gunnar was incredibly successful at doing so. He reinvented how glasses can be. The fact that they have no screws, so they never need to be tightened, they never come loose. The fact that they don't feel like you're wearing them on your face. The fact that you never have to worry about breaking them, even if you run over them in your car. All of that is just a whole revolution in the concept of a frame. I don't think he gets nearly enough credit, although he did win design awards. And when I visited his house in Iceland, it was cool to have the Red Dot Award book from the year that he won on his coffee table. I flicked through it and found his frames, and that was a really cool moment. But the fact that Gunnar Gunnarsson made this as a one-of-a-kind pair for me makes them truly special. Maybe my most special pair. Maybe the one that if I lost all of my glasses, this would be the one that I would be most upset about. Originally, I got them with clear lenses. I wasn't happy, I wasn't wearing them enough. So when Zeiss launched Adaptive Sun technology, I wanted to test it out. I installed them to this frame, and since then that has been a transformative experience. I wear these inside a lot. They're very calming, very relaxing. I actually think this tint is very underutilized by people for indoor use. But as soon as I step out into the sun, these will darken as necessary to be the most protective, or almost as protective as the green polarized with silver flash, because these don't have polarization, they don't have the flash. What they do have is the gradient tint. And that makes it great for relaxing and checking my phone when I'm out. And I'm on my phone a lot, or I'm on my camera when I'm out a lot. Most of the time, that's more important than extreme protection like I get from the green pair. So hopefully it's easy to see why these are one of my most worn pairs. Now, a lot of people do request these, but as I've told you, they are one of a kind. So unfortunately, you can't have them. What we have done, and this has been a really fun project on a few occasions, is we've taken the Alba concept, which as you can see has the double bridge, just like this pair. And we've actually taken this exact shape and replicated it in this frame. So we can do that for you, and that would produce a result that is almost identical to this. Now, sticking on the theme of Reykjavik Eyes, and you're probably getting bored of me talking about them, I have maybe too many pairs of Reykjavik Eyes, but they are the best glasses in the world at the end of the day. This is the Mr. Puffin, which is a limited edition sunglass that they produced and is no longer in production. I think we might have one pair left, with my custom Magma Orange and Sapphire flash coating combination. These are the best driving lenses that I personally have ever tried. The visibility, the contrast, the clarity that you get through this lens, it's actually unreal. I feel like I can react to things faster, I can spot hazards faster, I can judge distances better through these lenses, better than any of my other lens tints. And believe me, I think I've tried pretty much everything out there. And when you put these on, you're just in the zone. They make you so engaged with the driving experience, which I think in turn makes you more responsive and makes you safer. And that's why this is one of my most crucial pairs. If you don't have a pair of driving glasses, invest in one today. That would be a really important tip that I would impart to you. Get a pair of driving glasses, they could save your life. And not only that, they make driving more enjoyable, which if you're anything like me is something you do every day. Next up, I've said these are my favorite glasses, and I probably stand by that. Overall, this is my favorite pair of glasses. The reason I say that is because they are my most versatile, but I still love them. I still think they're stylish. These are from the carbon wood series again. We have wood along the top, carbon fiber at the bottom, and the frame itself has a carbon fiber core. I made a full video all about this pair of glasses, such as my enjoyment of wearing them, so definitely check that out. I won't elaborate on them too much, but they are one of my most worn pairs purely because of the versatility. They're great indoors, they look great as sunglasses, they're subtle enough to wear with any outfit, but they're cool enough to always be stylish. It's very, very hard to tick all of those boxes with one pair, but this is my pair that does that. So I absolutely love them. My absolute newest pair, but since I got these, almost my most worn pair of glasses is my custom Barton Prera rimless. When I first reviewed the Barton Prera rimless series, I was impressed, but a little bit skeptical. Since wearing them, they've blown me away. And you guys have blown me away mostly because of how many compliments and how many requests I get about these glasses. Everyone seems to love how they look, and everyone seems to want them. And I think that says a lot because I showcase a lot of glasses here on YouTube. Perfect for wearing at work, but I also think these are stylish enough and casual enough to wear with jeans. So they're quite versatile. They're a little bit more dressy than things that I've had before, but people's reaction to that has been really positive. So that makes me more enthusiastic about wearing them. I think these are my best looking pair of glasses. There, I said it. I think they're my best looking pair of glasses. The combination of the shape, which is custom, the faceting around the lens rim, the tint, and the frame itself, which is finished in white gold with this brown striped acetate. Everything is perfect about them. Finally, my most worn pair, and I have to say it's marginal over the Barton Prera, is my Reykjavik Eyes Alba. These are just such a go-to frame. I can dress them up and down, just like with the Barton Prera, but they're a little bit more understated, which is more in keeping with my personality type. But being Reykjavik Eyes again, I can fall asleep in them. I never have to worry about breaking them, so I wear them a lot around the house. Brown gradient tint is actually super comfortable as well. They also have the ruby flash coating, which I think pairs really nicely with the copper coloration of the frame. And that copper color is one of the things that makes them really distinct as well. I think this is the best Reykjavik Eyes frame, at least for me, and therefore it's my most worn pair of glasses. So that's it, that rounds out the video, and I hope you've enjoyed this tour of my own personal eyewear collection. What do you think, and which is your favorite pair? Let me know in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this video, give us a like and subscribe to the channel for more of the best eyewear content on the internet. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks guys, bye-bye.